Hey all. Alright, so this is a very brief intro video to the politics of the Nevada legislature. Most of what I need you to know there is in the Bowers chapter, chapter 6, posted as a PDF file, and in a brief set of narrated slides. Alright, what do I want to say about this? Something that I don't think I covered in the slides, and that is that Nevada, and I forget if it was 4 years ago or 6 years ago, but we became the first state legislature in the country to have a majority of female members in both chambers. All right, and that's still the case today. So that's something that was not included in the slides. I think I used to include it in lecture notes. I've moved away from lecture notes for my online students. So make sure you know that. Other things to know. Yeah, so I know right now that Democrats are strongly in control of both chambers and have been for 8 years, roughly. But I tell you what, you don't have to go back that far to find a legislature in Nevada that was controlled by the Republicans. I believe Republicans won both houses in 2014 and then held that for 2 years and then lost that control in 2016 election cycle. All right, so I would say we're still party competitive, all right, because these things go back and forth. I wouldn't count the Republicans out just yet. Also notable, right, we do have a Republican governor now, Steve Sisolak, the Democrat, the incumbent, failed to get reelected in 2022. It's one of the few dark spots for Democrats nationwide in that election cycle. Right, the GOP have been looking to pick up all sorts of seats, both federal and state, in that cycle, and they didn't, for the most part. They didn't. So one of their few bright spots was winning the governorship in Nevada. It was close, man. It was so close. But Lombardo did emerge victorious. So it's been interesting, right? Because for 4 years, Democrats controlled both the legislature and the governor's mansion. So they had pretty free reign in terms of what they were able to get done. And they got a lot done. Right? When you have that sort of trifecta control, it's called trifecta, because it's both houses of the state legislature and the governor's mansion. Trifecta. There's not going to be a whole lot of checks and balances under that scenario. Now, that being said, Sisolak was a relatively conservative Democrat, so there was some tension, but not a lot. So it's been interesting to see. And, I'm going to try to get a guy in to talk about this in an interview format for you guys. I don't know if I'm going to pull that off or not. Always so much to do. But my broad impression of the most recent legislative session, because they always meet in odd-numbered years, right? So 2023, 2025 is the next one. 4 months. Typically it's what? May, June, July. No, that's not right. What am I saying? It's February, March, April, May. And the only reason we went into June this year was because the governor immediately called 2 legislative special sessions. Number one, to complete a final part of the budget, which didn't get done in the regular session because there wasn't enough time. And then a special legislative session number 2 to get tax breaks approved by both Clark County and the state of Nevada to attract the Oakland A's Major League Baseball franchise by offering them tax breaks of about, I think, $380 million total. I think $200 million from Clark County, $180 from the state. I don't want to get into the weeds on that. I don't even know about the weeds well enough to do that, because that's stuff you have to be an accountant. But basically, tax breaks, pretty standard. That's controversial. It's not a done deal yet, by the way. Not a done deal. Number of things still have to happen. The Oakland A's ownership group needs to line up private financing, because that stadium that they're proposing is going to cost, I think, $1.5 billion. Right, so $380 million helps, but it only helps. So they still have a lot of work to do, a number of other things to get done. Oakland hasn't given up yet. So, that's to be decided. And even if it works out, it's going to be some years before the Oakland A's actually get here. It's going to take, I think, 2 years to build the stadium, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, legislative sessions, it turns out, are quite common in Nevada. I can't remember the last year in which we didn't have at least one special session, which begins to suggest, right, that maybe our legislature should meet every year and be more professional. But it is what it is. We have that libertarian tradition. And Texas does it that way, and they're a huge state, so I guess it can be done. But that's usually not ideal for a number of reasons. All right. So my impression was that, Lombardo got some of what he wanted. Democrats got some of what they wanted. It was pretty much I think a pretty 50-50 situation. I know that's cliche, but I think largely true in this case. And the thing that gave Lombardo tremendous leverage was Democrats came up 1 seat shy of a 2/3 supermajority in the state Senate. If they'd had that supermajority, it would have been game over for Lombardo. He would have been a marginal figure. But as things worked out, although Democrats did win 2/3 in the Assembly, they were 1 seat shy in the Senate. So that gave Lombardo a whole lot of bargaining power, right? Because rarely would a legislator of the governor's party defect on an override vote. So, all right, that's to get it done. Thanks all.